Hi everybody, it's me Jules, and we're here with the Renew Show. And first we want to explain we're having more technical difficulties. Our guest is, I'm sorry.
Keep it together.
He looks like a coloring book character. So this is Justin, and he's going to be with us. But first we want our host to say hello to everyone.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in and bearing with us through these technical problems.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Glad to have Justin here.
Okay, I would like to start off by saying that this guest, Justin, is going to be a lot different than the guests that we've had in the past. His story is a lot different. As you guys know, most of our guests that we've had have been pretty overweight and have been in a battle to get all the weight off that they can. And Justin's story is a little bit different, and so I'm going to let him share that with you. But first, I want to tell you something that I really like about Justin's videos is that you never know where he's going to be vlogging from. I've never seen anybody do so many videos from so many different locations, and I listed some of the locations because I thought they were great. He's vlogged from his bathroom, his office, his car, his bike, his refrigerator, literally, he set the camera in the fridge, a hospital, while him and his wife were having a tour where they're going to deliver their baby, a boat, mountains, a jacuzzi, the gym, a rock climbing gym, the grocery store, restaurants, an airport, and state parks. The boy is always up to something. So, with that said, Justin, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you're on Renew. Why do you think?
So my name's Justin. Jules really summed it up well. I think I really have to address this elephant in the closet because I had a problem with my webcam, and I'm assuming you guys can all see this weird cartoonist person here in front of you, so I apologize for that. Just use your imagination. I assure you I'm a real person. I just don't know how to work a webcam that well. I think that's my problem. But as far as my channel and my vlogs, I do try to vlog everywhere. I like to get out. That's probably one of the most encouraging and inspiring things for me is getting outdoors, getting out of the gym, getting away. Outdoors to me really motivate me and make me see a lot of beautiful things, man. Like, I love getting out hiking and bike riding and just doing anything that's outdoors. About being on the Renew Show, too, I really feel honored to be on this show because, like Jules said, there's a lot of people who've been on this show that I've watched that have really big, inspiring weight losses and stories. I don't have a big weight loss. I have a little bit. My story more involves kind of growing up and learning more about myself and dealing with more of like head issues than anything else. When I was younger and I was in high school, you know, I was just like a typical jock. I played baseball. When I got out of high school, I played a little bit of college baseball, and then once that ended for me, I kind of lost, you know, who I was as a person. And I went through a change in my life where I didn't know who I was and I didn't know where I was going. And I had a lot of anxiety, so much anxiety. I had my first panic attack when I was 22 years old, and that to me was the scariest moment in my life. The feeling of anxiety I had during my first panic attack was just nuts. It was like every single question or doubt that I had in my head was racing all at the same moment, the same time, and I didn't know what was going on. And it's a really scary experience if you've never experienced it before or you don't know anything about it. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I thought I was going to die right there at 22 and never get to experience any more of my life. It really, really freaked me out. And once I started to learn to deal with anxiety, which was a huge challenge, it took me years to finally adjust with it, I found myself in a weird state, kind of in my mid to late 20s. I was occasionally using kind of alcohol to self-medicate my anxiety. I was eating to self-medicate my anxiety. And I'd kind of thrown fitness and everything I'd done in high school out the window. And I was going down a path which was not a good path at all. I was gaining a lot of weight. From high school to my late 20s, I probably gained like 40 pounds, maybe 35, somewhere in there. And I'd gone to the doctor, and I'd gotten bad blood test results as far as my cholesterol. My total cholesterol at one point, I think, was a total of, oh man, I don't know the exact measurements, but it was like a total of 300. My HDL was like, I think like 180. I think that's the bad one. It was like 180. It was ridiculously high. I also had, in my early 30s, I had a big panic attack when I moved down to San Diego for my wife's job, and I dove in the back of a paramedic's truck, and they took me to the hospital, and they did a liver test, and my liver enzymes were off. They were actually kind of high, so I kind of found out through this panic attack that I had a fatty liver, which is another scary health sign. And so all these things were kind of piling up, and you could kind of see I was going down a road that I didn't want to go down. And last year in November, the beginning of November, I found out that my wife was pregnant and I was going to have a kid. So here's another big change, big chapter in my life, and I didn't feel physically ready for it. So what I did is I took some inspiration from somebody who inspired me, which you guys all probably know. His name's Bruce Lee. And he had a quote that I read in one of his books, and the quote was, "Mighty is he who conquers himself." And I've always remembered that quote because I always thought it was so true in fitness, in eating, and whatever it is. At least for me, if I can conquer myself mentally, I can do anything I want physically, because to me it's always mental. So I took that quote and I decided to vlog on like a weight loss journey and a health journey to ultimately change my life for the better, for myself, for my future son, for my wife. And I figured if I vlogged about it, it would kind of help me, in a sense, be therapy, so I could be honest to myself on camera and anybody else who chose to watch it. So it's always kind of been like that. It's been this journey of me conquering myself, losing weight, trying to limit alcohol, trying to eat well, exercise, and just get out and experience life. And I think that's kind of a good sum up of who I am and what my channel is really all about.
All right, that was a really detailed list, and you actually went through kind of all your videos and kind of took a little bit out of each one. That was a really good introduction. I guess the thing I would like to know, one thing that I'm really curious to know is, I'm sure that when you started this channel, you really probably weren't expecting a bunch of people that had a lot of weight to lose to be following you and kind of support you in the way that I've seen this community supporting you. Does that surprise you? Like, what do you think? What was your reaction when you realized that you had people like us supporting you in your transformation journey?
It wasn't what I expected. It was. I felt kind of honored, and then I kind of saw, like, you know, one person, or I'd get a couple comments, and then I'd look at their channel and I'd see there was these familiar faces commenting there, and then going back and forth, and I saw this community. And I saw this community of people who had just big weight losses, and I was kind of blown back, and I was like, wow, there is this little niche community here. I don't know what they find amusing about my story, because I really don't have a lot of weight to lose. I just have some other things. But I was really thankful, actually, to be accepted into that community, because it's so encouraging. All the people here are so positive. I had another channel I did last year. I have a hobby of doing stand-up comedy. And last year I made a commitment to do, you know, one monthly comedy video every month. And that channel, it wasn't really self-rewarding. I never got a lot of good feedback from that. I'd get more hate and people saying, you know, you suck, this sucks, that wasn't funny. So it was more depressing and just kind of, and that's kind of comedy normally. You kind of go through these ruts and this nasty, dirty feeling of no one really likes you. But then I come around to this new channel I have, the Conquering Myself, and everyone's positive, and everybody just is so encouraging, uplifting. Everyone's got your back, and it was, like I said, just it was an honor and so great to be part of it. And everybody that I've found and whose videos I've watched have been encouraging to me too, because a lot of these people in this community are just dealing with huge battles, and they're winning them. And then that's really encouraging for me to see too. So it's just, I guess, to answer your question, how did I feel? I felt honored and encouraged. So.
Well, I'll say that when I first started watching Justin, you know, and this is so stereotypical, and I hate that I did this, because this is one of my concerns that I've talked about here on the show, with when I get more towards goal, is people really going to be able to relate to me? And when I first watched Justin, I was like, I don't really know if I got anything in common with him. I don't know if I can get anything from him. You know, he looks built. And so that was something that now I never do. No matter what someone's appearance is, I always go check out their channel if it's someone that I hear about or run across or think I can learn from. And I'm just pointing that out so that everybody does the same thing. Just because someone isn't as big as we are or have all the same battles, it doesn't mean that we can't learn something. And you know what? I didn't write notes tonight for questions because I've watched every one of Justin's videos, and it's because he is newer, and it's harder when there's people that's been around forever to go back and watch every single video that they've made. But you know, Justin, you are encouraging, you do motivate me, and I see you doing things that I want to do, and I know I can do. So I just wanted to throw that out there and say, you know, I was really surprised, and I'm glad to be a part of your journey.
Oh, thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate that. I admire one thing about you so much. It seems like you've always commented on everybody's videos. You're always watching and being supportive. And I know it's difficult to watch a lot of videos, and I was always shocked by the amount of videos you comment on and the support you gave. And when I saw you commenting on my videos, I again was just thankful and grateful because I've watched your videos. You've been really encouraging to me. You're an animated person who I enjoy watching, and I think you're entertaining. So again, it's great to hear that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I have a question, and actually look and see that my wife is watching and had the same exact question. So I'll say it in her words. She says, Justin, what has been your biggest struggle in trying to conquer yourself?
The two is, I'd have to say fear and anxiety are probably the biggest emotions that I have to deal with. When my boy comes in July, I'm mentally preparing for this. I'm physically trying to keep myself in good shape because if I'm not in good shape physically and I'm not eating well, it leads right back to panic. But I know when the boy comes, I'm going to be hit with fear again, fear of what to do as a new parent and how to do things. And that's an ongoing theme, I think, in my life. Like even back in high school when I played baseball, it's such an embarrassing story for me to tell, and I don't like telling it, but I was a sophomore in high school, and I made the varsity baseball team. And I was a catcher, and a catcher after every pitch has to throw the baseball back to the pitcher. Well, this was probably one of my first panic attacks. I got so nervous I couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher, and I would kind of lob it in this really awkward lob, and I'd miss the pitcher most of the time. And here I am, you know, a young sophomore trying to play varsity baseball. I can't even throw the ball back to the pitcher. So that was one of my first bouts with fear, and it's constantly hit me again over and over. So to answer your question, what's the biggest challenge? It's fear. Fear of failure, fear of making a fool of myself, fear of doing the wrong thing. It's kind of all that, and I'm constantly trying to remind myself, you know, I can do this, and I'm constantly trying to be self-aware of the fear that I feel, and I'm trying to master how to turn it into a good thing and make it a positive, make myself kind of get power and energy out of that fear instead of letting it cripple me and hurt my life.
You've talked about fear in some of your past videos, and as I was watching them, it reminded me of Angela, who was on a couple weeks ago from Changes by 40, and she is another person that is constantly trying to conquer fear. And you have said that you need to do anything that you're afraid of. If you have fear, then you know that you need to try to do that. And I think that is such a message to people, because especially in the weight loss community, I mean, we're afraid to try lots of things, and a lot of us are going through struggles and things and getting to milestones that we've never been at, and being able to try new things is so important in the journey. And I think that you definitely show that you were really working on conquering that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. You know, one thing I see at the gym sometimes, you'll see like a really big overweight person who's in the gym lifting weights, like maybe getting on the bench press and just not afraid. They're there and they're going to get some work done. And people like that who are not afraid to get in there and do stuff, they're inspiring regardless of how they look, because your actions to me speak so much more. Like I was in the gym when I first started lifting weights, again, back about a year or so ago. I was like 245, and I was big for myself, but I was nowhere near huge. So, and I still have this feeling of, God, dude, I'm just a fat ass, and I know everyone's looking at me, and they must be judging me. So I can only imagine what it'd be like to see someone a lot bigger, and then go into like a gym area where it can be very intimidating and fearful. And whenever I see someone there who's busting their butt, it motivates me, and I love seeing people like that, and they encourage me, and it makes me think, you know, if they can conquer their fear, I can conquer my own too. And again, like Jules said, I try to put myself in situations where I'm scared, because like I said, if you can overcome something that you're scared of, you become a better person.
Justin, I noticed in one of your videos back, and it was, I think it was back in the beginning, honestly, if I remember right, but you take a lot of supplements, a lot of different kinds of supplements. Is that something that you still do? And now those are expensive, okay? So I'm not trying to say what you do with your money or whatnot, but I know those are expensive. And with a baby coming, is that something that you're going to be able to keep doing? Because when you did that video, I think it actually was a couple parts, and there was like multiple things on the counter that you were showing.
Yeah, I go back and I watch that video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like a fool. Who needs all this stuff? Like, it's all kind of, it's overcompensation. No, I'm not going to continue to do that to that extreme. I think the only things that I'll continue to use as far as supplements are just a basic good protein powder that's low in cholesterol, and a multivitamin, and maybe some like fish oil and glucosamine. Yeah, I think it's the glucosamine, the stuff for your joints, because my knees and my wrists, because I type for work, they kind of hurt, and that stuff benefits me. So those are probably the only supplements that I'll continue to use, and I'll definitely cut back, because like you said, I think that was me. I think someone out there is screaming. I don't know if that's good or not, but what was I? Oh yeah, you don't really need all those supplements. It is kind of overcompensation, and I'm going to keep it minimal, because I really think that if you eat clean and you exercise well, you'll see results just as well even if you're using all those supplements.
Cool.
So I know you you entered the bodybuilding.com transformation challenge, and I know they send out tips and things like that weekly. Do you think that you learn more from Body Space and bodybuilding.com? Or did you learn more from the weight loss community when it comes to overall health and nutrition and fitness?
I'm actually glad I didn't win that contest. They send out the results today of the winner, so I didn't win it. I didn't place, and that's good, because honestly, Body Space, I kind of hate it, man. It doesn't work well. Leaving comments and interacting with people, it's not that great. It's really not. I found the YouTube community to be much better. As far as video advice, you can kind of find whatever you want out there, but most importantly, the encouragement from people on YouTube is much better than anything that I got on Body Space. And I didn't like the site, and I feel that YouTube and the way people make their videos is so much more personal, so you can get a little more motivation and see inside people more than you can on Body Space. It's just kind of limiting. So yeah, I think YouTube was much better for me than Body Space.
I know you've talked in the past about a little like notebook or journal that you carry around with you and write in. Can you share that with the viewers and kind of explain how you use that? Because I think it's really, a lot of people might benefit from hearing this.
So upset by my video quality here. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I carry a notebook here. This looks really weird. I carry a little notebook with me. I got it at Staples. And what I do is I just kind of like they taught you in probably elementary school to journal and write how your day was, or your thoughts, or your ideas. So I never really did that through high school or college, but when I started doing comedy, I kept this journal, and I would write any ideas I had, any premises, anything I thought was funny, and I'd just keep it and then flip through it and try to make jokes from it. So recently, I took that same idea and I started writing ideas. I originally started writing ideas for videos, like topics I wanted to do, and then it's kind of evolved into kind of a personal journal where sometimes I'll just write stuff I just want to vent about, or maybe something inspirational I saw. And now I'll go back and flip through it, and I'll see these cool thoughts that I had, or ideas that can motivate me, that make me feel good, or even sometimes workout tips too. I was watching TV and I had my journal with me, and I was watching one of those military shows where they follow like the Marines doing something, and they did this cool sprint thing like down into the water and up on the sand, actually here in San Diego. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna do that, and I made a note about it in my journal. And, you know, it'll be there and it'll help me out down the road.
So I have a question regarding what you would like eat on a daily basis, and I'm not saying every day, but like mixing in what you would normally eat, because I know there's a few people out there that eat raw or that eat almost 100% clean, but I don't think that the majority of the people eat that way. So what's like a normal day or week of eating for you? Like how many times would you eat out, or how many, you know, treats or snacks or whatever you would say do you eat? Like what's your eating pattern?
Lately for me, because we're getting so close to baby time, we've been going out a little bit more. We've been going to restaurants, but that's because we want to get out of the house and we kind of want to enjoy a little bit outside time, because once that baby comes, I'm going to be stuck here in the house. But generally, if I'm eating clean, my staple for breakfast is oatmeal with like a turkey sausage. I mix some cinnamon in there, a little bit of protein powder, and then strawberries on top. And that's my go-to for breakfast. Lunchtime, I might go for like a type of spinach shake or omelet or eggs with veggies in there, or maybe if I'm gonna have a hard day at the gym, I will make a whole wheat macaroni and cheese type of thing, and I'll throw some chicken in there, maybe a turkey, and then at dinner, I'm kind of open for anything that's clean, but it all kind of depends. As far as eating super vegetarian or gluten-free or any of that stuff, I eat kind of whatever I want. I just try to make sure the foods that I eat are, you know, fresh and clean. I always mention in my videos Drew Manning from fit.com. When I read his book, he had one thing in it that I really loved, and he said the best place to be in a grocery store is on the outside and then in the produce section, because the outside is kind of where all the clean things are, the things that haven't been processed or soaked and whatever. That's where you get your nice clean meats. And then the produce aisle is heaven, because that's all the fresh veggies and that's all the good stuff that really gets you going. So I try to when I shop, live in those areas.
We have a question from Crazy Running Mom Brooke, and she says, "What does your wife think of your involvement in the YouTube community? My husband thinks I'm nuts." LOL, joking, sort of.
She sees that it's encouraging me, and I think she sees the positive of it, and she's kind of, you know, open for anything that creates something good in me. So she's definitely all for it. And she's also seen too, like I said last year, I did the comedy videos. She's also seen how, like, you know, the comedy videos and the stand-up can kind of lead to a little bit of depression, because you get real down on yourself when you don't do well. And then this year, when I'm doing these positive weight loss videos or outdoor videos, it just gives me a better attitude. I'm usually more upbeat. I'm getting out. So I think she sees it as an overall positive, and it's really helping me a lot more.
Tina Prairie Princess 1 asks, Justin, as you know, I work out with kettlebells, and that is my first fitness love. What is your favorite fitness activity?
It has to be lifting weights, like you know, barbells, dumbbells, anything like you would see in the gym where you're putting plates on it. I love the bench press, the incline bench press, dumbbell presses. I want to say I love squats, but I hate them because they take so much out of me, man. Like, leg day is a weird love-hate relationship thing. When I do legs at the gym, you know, I'll do squats, I'll do a leg press, and then I'll do either like a leg curl or a leg extension, and then I'll do calves. But usually at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to walk, and I'm going to be sore. So it's weird. It's like you kind of love this pain. It's a little like S&M-ish, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. But there's a lot of pain involved there. I just did legs for the first time in like 2 months, 2 days ago, and I couldn't get out of the couch. Every time I got up, I winced in pain. I was like, ah, and it hurt so bad. But I kind of like that pain, so I don't know. I'm weird like that. So to answer your question, I like the stuff that plates go on and the big heavy dumbbells. That's my favorite exercises.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We got another question coming in from Tony Yates. And he says, I always admire how the parents of the weight loss community follow their plans. Are you worried that you won't have time to get in your workouts or good eating?
That's a good question. I just kind of had a discussion with my wife today about that, and she can't work out as much, so she's really looking forward to after the baby pops out. She wants to get back into the gym as soon as she can, and I asked her, I'm like, you know, when the baby comes out, like the first couple weeks, am I still going to have time to go to the gym maybe for an hour or hour and a half while you watch the kid? And she's like, yeah, sure. She's like, I want to be this team where we can switch off and take turns and keep working out and keep a good schedule. And as far as eating goes, we've already had discussions about making our own baby food, kind of out of vegetables, mashing them up. Hopefully the kid will like that stuff, because I'm looking forward to cooking that stuff. I do most of the cooking in my house too, believe it or not. I cook for my wife all the food, so I'm actually looking forward to making these baby food mushes out of sweet potatoes or anything else that the kid will like. So overall, to answer your question, I think my wife and I are going to be able to keep a healthy lifestyle, and I think by taking turns with the kid and kind of getting out and having our gym time or whatever, it'll help us keep our sanity, because we'll get to get out of the house and away from the baby for a short time, and then come back and kind of be refreshed.
That's awesome. That's so important. Let's see. Okay. So Khalif loves to lift weights, and I would rather eat very, very well as opposed to working really hard lifting weights. What comes easier for you? Would it be easier for you to stay on your eating plan, or is it easier for you to stay on your workout plan?
It's easier for me to stay on my workout plan, because I enjoy certain foods, and sometimes I can kind of fall off track pretty easily. Excuse me, like pizza is my favorite thing, and I like to have pizza every once in a while, but sometimes I can have too much pizza. But regardless, I love getting in the gym, you know, lifting weights. I love it. But what's weird now is as I'm getting older, if I don't eat well, I don't feel as well in the gym. So it's almost like it's got to become hand in hand, especially as I probably get older, because if I don't eat well, I'm not going to want to go to the gym. I'm not going to feel as good in the gym. It's just this weird relationship, man. I remember when I was in my early 20s, like I could eat whatever I wanted. I could get drunk. I'd wake up the next day. I'd go to baseball practice, and then I could lift weights. I'd feel totally fine. I can't do that now, man. If I have a pizza the night before I wake up for a run, all I taste is burping up like these pepperonis and stuff. Like I have to learn to really eat clean continuously. But to answer your question, it'd be easier for me to stay in the gym than eat well.
And I personally, I think it comes down, and I'm not a doctor, everybody knows that, I'm just saying. I think it's so important to eat healthy and have some form of activity, because there is people that are at different stages that can't do the extreme workouts and the weightlifting or the running or the endurance walking and different things. But you know what you eat affects your body and your organs in all kinds of ways. Exercising helps keep you healthy and helps keep some of those numbers down when it comes to blood pressure and different things. But this is the thing that annoys me when people say, is someone to say, oh, he can eat whatever he wants, he's skinny. No, those people drop dead from heart attacks just like we do, have strokes just like we do. It is not okay to eat whatever you want that is unhealthy, depending on what size you are. And a lot of people don't understand that, and that's a critical mistake for a lot of people. So just balancing it out and making sure that we're having some form of activity or exercise or extreme exercise, but eating healthy a majority of the time, I think, is an awesome balance.
Rob, you're totally right in what you said. My example of how I ate when I was younger, you know, whether it's Burger King for breakfast and Carl's Jr. and pizza, that ultimately caught up with me, because my body couldn't handle it. I should have never been eating that way, though. Even if I could handle it being young, doesn't mean it's right. I should have been eating well back then too. But what you're saying is totally, absolutely true. I mean, we really are machines, and what we put in us is going to determine how long we last as a machine and how well we work as a machine.
So I know that you like to do a lot of hiking and just being out in nature in general. Do you find that you get more satisfaction out of that than doing an intense workout, or do you find it's the other way around? Not just the burn, but the actual satisfaction.
Oh, you have to climb a mountain. I get more satisfaction out of climbing a big, challenging mountain than anything I've really ever had. That to me is, it's amazing. Like, if I could recommend something, if it's something to work towards, if you got to lose weight to be able to climb a peak somewhere, or if you're fit enough to do it, go do it, man. That is the most rewarding feeling. Getting to the top of like a 10,000 foot or 11,000 foot peak, and usually a hike like that will take, it could take all day. And when you get to the top, it's amazing. And you really get a sense of accomplishment looking around and seeing how far you came. One of the things that happens when I go on hikes, there's a couple local mountains here. One, it's called San Gorgonio, and it's pretty much like an 18 to 20 mile round trip all day hike. And when you go up the mountain, you have so much doubt sometimes, because as you're climbing up, you're getting to a higher elevation, you can't breathe as well. If you haven't been on the trail, you don't know how far you have to go, really, because you just see a trail and you see a peak, and sometimes the trails curve different ways. So there's also a lot of self-doubt and a lot of fear of, man, how much longer, when am I going to get there? Oh my God, my feet hurt, everything hurts. But when you get to the top, it's like, it's awesome. You totally feel so great, and you feel like you truly accomplished something. And to me, I guess, to answer your question, climbing a mountain, getting on a trail, and getting to a destination is so, so fulfilling and so motivating.
I gotta find some mountains. There's no mountains by me. So since you're talking about mountains, why don't you tell us about this Mount Whitney goal?
Yeah, that's right. Tonight I'm going to draw up my training for that, and I think I'm going to start doing a lot of videos on the preparation for that. If you guys if the viewers don't know what Mount Whitney is, look it up. It's a local mountain here in California. The elevation, I don't know it exactly. I think it's 14,400 feet high. It's again, round trip. It's a 20-mile hike. This hike it's tough. It's really tough, and it's a popular hike too. So it's not something you can just pick up and do whenever you want. You have to submit your request for a permit back in February, and then your request goes into like a lottery type system, and then maybe you get picked or maybe you don't. I got picked, and I luckily got my date. So I'm going to hike up about halfway. I'm going to camp out, then I'm going to summit it. The weird thing, from what I've been told, is when you get to about 14,000 feet, you can't breathe a lot. And what everybody tells me is the last part to the summit, it's like taking baby steps. You take kind of like one step, and then you take a break and you got to breathe, and then again and again and again. And it's really tough at the end. So Mount Whitney is going to be a big challenge. It's something I've been wanting to do my whole life, and I haven't got a chance to do it. So I'm going to start training for that. I'm going to start vlogging about my training for it, and I'm really excited for that because I want to get to the top of that mountain so bad. It's just been kind of mocking me for years, and it's something I got to do. And it's kind of perfect timing too, because I'm going to have a kid in July. I'm going to hike Whitney in August. So those are two big changes and obstacles that I need to be ready for, and I need to get over and conquer.
We have a question coming in from S Loves Weight Loss, and it says, how do you be economic with clean eating?
I'm assuming that's about saving money, because I know eating clean can be really expensive, especially when you're buying produce. And if that produce goes bad, I always feel like a dollar bill just rotted in my fridge. It's honestly, that's something I got to work on and figure out, because right now we don't have a kid, so we're kind of free to spend just about whatever we want on food. But when the kid comes, I think we got to change it up a little bit. So honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. I want to say frozen vegetables help a lot because they'll stay frozen, but they don't taste as good as the fresh ones do. I always recognize that. So that's something, I don't know, I'm going to learn once I have a kid, and I'm going to have to adjust. So that's something I honestly don't know too well.
We got a question that came in from Gastric Rolls. But first, she wants you to know that you're doing amazing and she's enjoying your answers. And her question is, how long have you been on this journey?
First off, thanks. I appreciate that. And how long have I been on this journey? I started this channel January. I think it's 1st or 3rd is when I officially started to change and work out, and when I started to really kind of turn things around. So for this specific journey where I'm being a lot more serious and I'm blogging, I've been doing it since January. So almost 6 months where I've been really serious about it, focusing on it.
In the past, you have talked about your abuse of alcohol, and I know that you said that you wanted to, in this transformation and through this this journey, that you wanted to learn moderation of alcohol and of food. And I know that I struggle with moderation of food, and that is a battle in of itself. I can't imagine trying to learn moderation of 2 things. So how exactly are you doing on that front along with your food? And how do you get overwhelmed?
I don't think I get overwhelmed, but I do have struggles. I definitely have struggles. It's kind of weird because when I get motivated for something, it's like it's all or nothing. So like I won't drink for a month or 2 months, and then I'll come back to it, and then I'll kind of splurge a little bit here and there, and then maybe I'll slip a little bit. But if I don't have kind of like a goal in mind, it can be kind of tough. So I'm still working and practicing on the moderation, but I've never. See, like, what's weird is I think I try to focus more on the moderation of the alcohol, because whenever you drink more, at least me, I want to eat more, and I want to eat cheesy and fatty foods. That's just instantly what hits me. So if I can kind of limit the alcohol, that craving for that cheesy, fatty food isn't always there. So it's easier to eat clean when I'm not not drinking for a month, versus when I'm on the weekends I'll have some drinks here and there, and then it gets a little difficult. So I guess to answer your question, I'm still learning in that moderation phase, and I'm still kind of practicing and trying to hold myself accountable to that. Because like I do have times where I slip with that, and then I pull it back together for a while. But in comparison, to last year and to the year before that, I've improved a lot, and I've come a long way, man, a long way. I wrote down on my notebook here, I think I was 32, probably like 31. It was when I lived not in San Diego. And I had a moment, and this is such a disgusting moment to have, kind of like a realization where something needs to change. And I'm playing my PlayStation 3 with a friend online, so we're talking to each other through headsets. And we're playing Madden, and I go, hang on a second, I got to go get something. This is like 2:30 in the morning, too. And he hears me pour something, and he goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm mixing some vodka and Sprite, and I'm having some Life cereal. And he's like, that's disgusting, man. I'm like, yeah, I guess it pretty much is. So that's a nasty kind of moment in my life I don't ever want to return to. So I am doing better. I'm not having vodka and Sprite and cereal anymore. So I think it's doing a little bit better.
Mark asks, which is CKR Tom 2, Justin, I feel my anxiety is tied into mental things. Like researching for my place in my career. Is your job stressful, or does it have any impact on your journey?
That's an interesting question. My job, I think most people would think, is really stressful. Basically what I do is, I don't want to get too into detail to it, but I'm basically a tax auditor, so I give people really bad news with really big bills. And I think most people would say my job's stressful, but I just kind of deal with it really well, and I don't ever take home my work. So to me, my job, when I first started, it gave me a little bit of anxiety, but I've learned to deal with it, and I'm really fine with it. My anxiety comes more from kind of my past, I think, and how I learned, how I was I observed my family and how they dealt with fear and anxiety, and a lot of that was just suppressing it and keeping it inside. And I mimic that, and I just kind of need to learn to break that as I get older. So I think it was a habit I was taught from my family more than anything. So when something difficult comes, I suppress it. Instead, I should really learn to kind of let it out and express myself and vent.
Okay, Brooke, Crazy Running Mom, asks a question. She says, why do you think gym rats seem to get a bad name or intimidate folks from joining a gym?
Is it just the name? Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, sorry. Why do you think gym rats seem to get a bad name or intimidate folks from joining a gym?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm just speculating, because if you go into a gym, it's kind of like a subculture in a sense. And if you've never been in a gym, it can be kind of intimidating. You may not know how etiquette goes. You may not really know what you're doing. And when you see people who look like they know what they're doing, it can be intimidating. Like, for instance, last month I joined a boxing gym. And a boxing gym is completely different from a workout gym, and it's a whole new environment, and it's really damn intimidating, man. You kind of got to get in there and get involved, and there's contact with people, and it's kind of scary, you know. I got to do a little bit of jiu-jitsu stuff, and that in itself is intimidating because you're in close quarters with another guy, you're in weird positions, so if you're not comfortable with that, that's just strange and awkward. And then, you know, people are better than you too. And seeing people that are better than you and that can control you or faster than you, it kind of, you know, makes you not want to be there. And again, it all comes back to this fear thing, where really it is you're scared of a place you don't know. And the key to get over that is to get to know it, get in there and learn about it, and then hopefully the fear will subside.
I was thinking about that, and I think a lot of us, like, if we're going into the gym, like, we automatically feel like everyone's staring at us, and, like, you know, I think we bring that up on ourselves. I don't necessarily think that everyone in the gym is specifically picking on us, but sometimes I think we probably feel that way.
I think you're right. I think you're totally right. I think a lot of it is in our own head, that somebody else maybe being a jerk or picking on you or whatever. And I think it goes back to just not being comfortable in that environment, and you just got to get comfortable in it, and learn to deal with it.
Would you consider doing, like, another kind of transformation, like a challenge for a specific amount of weeks? I mean, you did your 12-week challenge, and truth be told, you didn't hit the ultimate goal that you wanted to hit, but you made a lot of progress. And so, is it something you would do again?
I think I'll do it again the beginning of January of next year, the same type of thing. I think bodybuilding.com has the same contest around that time. I kind of like, after the holidays and after Christmas and everything, kind of rebooting in a sense on January 1st, and just kind of going at it hardcore. So I'll probably do something like that again, because I've come with that 12 weeks. I did okay, but I didn't get where I wanted to. So what I'm kind of thinking about this year is if I can, you know, get to a better place by next year, and then do that same thing all over again. You know, I might hit where I really want to be with my body and get that dream picture that I really wanted. So yeah, I think I'll do it again the beginning of next year and go 12 weeks and take it, you know, take it really serious.
It looks like Angela, Changes by 40, asks, with your journey of conquering yourself, have you had to cut anyone out of your life because of lack of support in what you are trying to change about yourself? Great question, Angela.
Yeah, you know, unintentionally, because I moved down to San Diego. There were some people that I would see more often because I was closer to them that now I don't see, and that's probably a benefit because they always wanted to hang out, go to bars, drink, and eat. I don't see them, so there's really not that temptation there. As far as down here in San Diego, one thing that's difficult for me, and sometimes I don't really cut people out, but I limit it, is doing stand-up comedy. When you're in these clubs, there's lots of, sometimes the comedians get free drinks or discounts on food, and it's kind of tempting to drink and eat, and it kind of kills your diet. So I try to limit the amount that I do that, so it doesn't, I'm not putting myself in that environment, that temptation. But as far as, there are some people I cut out too. I don't really know, and maybe you guys might give me your opinion. I've heard some people say when you're on a journey and you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to do something, you have to cut people out of your life that are bad for you, even if they're close friends. But to me that seems weird, because sometimes close friends have good characteristics in them, even though they can create difficult environments. I don't know the right answer to that, honestly. I don't. I don't know.
I haven't cut anybody out of my life since I've started my journey, and most of the people understand, and the ones that don't or think that it's weird to be on YouTube or whatever the case might be, that's their right to feel that way. I mean, there's people that will sit and play video games all day, and I don't particularly think that that's productive, or I don't like that, but you know what? It's their life, and if that's what they want to do with their spare time, that's fine. My journey is nobody's business. If they want to be a part of it, I'm glad that they are, but we should never have to justify our journey, in my opinion, to any friends or family. They should be truly supportive as long as we are doing this journey in a way that is healthy and we are not participating in losing weight rapidly with unsafe ways. Other than that, they should be supportive, and they're welcome to give their comments and their suggestions if they want to. But we only have to take in what we want to take from it, because this is our journey and we're the CEO. We call the shots.
Yeah, I actually never experienced anyone being, negative in that sense. It's odd. I think women probably experience that more. It's hard for me to imagine like an adult man, 30, 40 years old, getting upset with me or jealous of me because I'm trying to get healthy and lose weight. It just seems kind of like something you do in middle school or high school. But I know a lot of times ladies experience that, where women sometimes will get jealous if they start being more confident and look better at things. But, I agree with Rob. I mean, I could keep the person in my life, and, you just don't impact me trying to lose weight. You know not to give me advice. You know not to try to pull me off my game. You know not to invite me to go somewhere that's going to make me fall. And if you do things like that, then you have to get out of my life. But if you're a true close friend, you wouldn't do things to sabotage me. So that's that's kind of how I look at it.
So you said that in the last couple videos that you've done, kind of, and even today, you've kind of stepped away a little bit from your, really good eating and that kind of thing. I just want to know, how are you going to, and I know that you're running, which I'm super excited about that, but how do you plan on getting, because I know sometimes it's, when you're away from it, it's so hard getting back to it. And sometimes I think when I was 241 pounds, it was almost easier to be motivated because I had a hard time tying my shoes. I was out of breath so easily. All these things that were inconveniences to me, and you are able to still live your life. You don't have tons of weight to lose. What's going to be your motivation? How are you going to get back in? What's your plan of attack?
Well, for me, I have to. I think I've discovered, like, I have to have some type of goal. So the great one that's coming up for me is this Whitney hike, and that's something where if I'm going to get on top of that mountain, I got to be in shape for it. And I get so motivated, like, for a mountain like that. I put like pictures up all around my desks, and all I think about is this mountain, this mountain, this mountain that just wants to own me. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to get on top of that thing. So that builds motivation, which in turn motivates me to eat well and make sure I make my workouts and stuff. After Whitney will become a challenge again too, because then I got to ask myself, what now? Because I need something to do. So I think what I have to do is constantly have something to train for. I can take a little time off, that's fine, but I got to train for something and try to find some goal to get on top of or to look a certain way. But of course, take some time off and make sure it doesn't, you know, just destroy my life. It's not too much, but I think I'm always going to need a goal, something to drive towards. And as long as I have a goal, I think I'll be strong mentally and physically.
Looks like Zen Maiden has asked the question, what is the biggest change you saw in the challenge? Was it weight or measurement or both?
I fit into different clothes. That to me was really cool. Like I had a couple pairs of pants that I didn't fit into till I hadn't fit into for like 6 years, and I fit into those. Some shorts, like that to me was the coolest thing. Having these old clothes that I saved from high school or my early 20s, and I'm like, oh, I can get into these. That was a really cool feeling. That was probably the biggest change. As far as numbers, I think the biggest one was the weight. I think I came down from like 230 something to 213 was my final number. I think that was the biggest percentage change. But I really like fitting into new clothes. That was a cool feeling.
She also would like to know, what is your ultimate goal for yourself in general?
It would have to be, man, that's a tough question. I got a lot of goals, a lot of different things. I guess it would really, where I'm at in my life now would to find like a middle where I'm constantly living a healthy lifestyle. I'm healthy, and I'm a good role model for my kid. So I think that's always kind of in the back of my head. Like, I got to be healthy enough. I want to see my kid graduate from high school and college, and I want to be able, if he chooses to play sports, I want to be able to be out there in the field and help him. So my ultimate goal, I guess, is to be healthy and be a good role model to my kid and be able to participate in whatever he wants to do with his life.
You'll be amazed as a parent. You know, I look at my daughters, and you will be amazed at how much power those little children have on you, and what a role that they play in keeping you motivated to get healthy. Because you want to be a role model for them, and the day you see him, it's on. I guarantee it.
I do have a question, kind of more so even going back to the beginning. You mentioned before, you know, you didn't have a ton of weight to lose, especially in comparison to, you know, a lot of people. Matter of fact, I think that I weigh pretty much what you weighed at the beginning. After losing all this weight, I'm finally down to where you were when you started. So how did you avoid kind of just settling and saying, well, I'm not as bad as that guy, I'm not as bad as that woman, I'm kind of okay where I am? How did you get the motivation to focus on yourself and to keep saying, I need to change?
It's real simple. I'm an only child, so I only look at myself and care about myself. That's it. So I looked in the mirror, and like, I understand what you're saying. You can always compare yourself to somebody else, but I always looked in the mirror and I'm like, this is me. I want to look better for me. I don't care about anybody else. I only care about myself. I'm a little self-centered that way. So I always looked in the mirror, and I always kind of have a vision of how I want to look and how I want to feel and how I kind of want to be able to perform in the gym or wherever. So it's just basically my mindset. I don't ever really look at other people and compare them to myself, because again, like, it's always just about me, conquering myself, dealing with myself. I'm the only one who's got to live my life. I got to live the best I can. So I don't know. That's just kind of the way I look at it.
All right. Well, time is up. It's went fast. Thank you so much for joining us. I see comments coming in that they got a lot of information from you that's helpful to their journeys. Make sure you go back and read all the comments that they left, because I see nothing but good things. And thank you for joining us tonight. I don't have any more questions. Do you guys have any last-minute questions?
No, just thanks for coming on, Justin. I mean, you really do make an impact in the community, because you're at a different place than a lot of us. You know, a place where we're heading, and even though your struggles may have not been the same, it's really not about what our struggles are. It's that we're all looking to get healthy and find that happiness that we want. And it doesn't matter if we started at 500 pounds or if we started at 235 pounds. Everybody deserves to be healthy and happy if they want to be.
And Justin, I just want to thank you for coming on, and kind of like what my last question was, just thank you for putting your journey out there, especially as someone who didn't have as far to go as some others. It was great to see you with the passion and drive that you had, especially during that 12-week period. You had more passion and drive than I've had at different times when I was in worse shape. So it was just great to see you do that during that transformation.
Thank you guys again so much for having me on the show. Like, I really appreciate it. It was great when you asked me. I'm glad to be here, and you guys are all awesome, and thanks for letting me be part of this community.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Justin.
See you guys later.
All right, guys. We had another great show, and we only have a few more coming up. What we're going to do is Julie and Rob are going to announce who the next couple of guests are. Well, actually, I'm going to announce after Julie, and then Rob goes. And then there's one quick announcement, and then that's the end of the show.
All right. Next week, that would be June, guys, the date? 4th. We're going to have Half the Girl Maris. Her name is Marissa, and she will be here sharing her journey. She has lost a lot of weight, and I'm sure she has tons of information to offer you guys.
Okay, and then after that is June 11th. We're going to have Heather, a.k.a. Punky Lynn, on the show, and real excited to have her on, and just looking forward to it.
And on June 18th, we're going to have Miss Belinda Ball on the show. That's going to be an amazing show. And then on June 25th is going to be Deanna Bray, and that's going to be a very exciting show. What an amazing story she has.
All right, thank you. And the one just quick announcement is that the Renew show, the first season, if you will, of the Renew show is ending on June 25th with Deanna Bray. So we just wanted to let you know that we're taking off for July and August, and just depending on when Labor Day falls, we're going to come back either the first or second Tuesday of September, but we'll let you know that for sure next week. But just want you to know that we're in the last month, heading into the last month of Renew, and just thank you guys so much for supporting us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.